Boss, am I
set it
looking
up,
good?
man. You're looking
All right.
good.
Man, you were sharp, sharp, my man.
So Buckaroo Buck and Bob came out as for slang, okay? Of course, in Fort Worth, we have what they call Cowtown. Well, when I was in my younger days, I pretty much did a lot of rodeo and cowboy and bullshit stuff, okay?
Okay.
And we go down there drinking and hell raising and stuff like that. And the most city boys would come down there and they'd be wearing their big old cowboy hats and they'd be dressed up cowboy style. And one of the names we gave them was there's a Buckaroo Bob, just derogatory more than anything else, you know. And then when I wanted to do the Facebook and I wanted to get away from the John firm and people that know me and do a little cognito stuff, I put it together and I made it up. So that's basically how it came out.
I love it. And it's stuck. Like, how long have we been going on Buckaroo Bob? I mean, I know social media is not that old, but this has been going on 10 years?
I'm going to guess every bit of 8. Every bit of it, yeah.
Okay.
Because you can find John Firm. You can find John Firm Automotive. They're there. They're just inactive, okay? And I haven't logged in or used them for years. Yeah, you can go back a long ways in Buckaroo Buck and Bob. That's for sure. He's been around, a long time.
That's awesome. I love it. How about from the customer perspective? Anybody outside of the industry know who Buckaroo Bob is? Like from the local community standpoint, or is this
no,
strictly
not really.
on the? Okay.
Yeah, local side. Some of the people that are close to me, friends that are close to me, they know who it is. But as far as customers, and that's one of the reasons why I do what I do, customers can't find it. So I can share so much more in our industry about what's going on, management, ideas, things like that. Subject that customers don't necessarily need to see. There's so many friends of mine that post things to do with business management that I share all the time. Well, the general public or the general customer wouldn't have a clue what to look at that kind of stuff.
Yeah. That makes sense. Well, I love the two identities.
Mm-hmm.
One for the industry and another one for that customer-centric hospitality approach that I know you're doing at your shop.
And that's where Firm Automotive on Facebook comes in play.
Cool. So tell us about Firm Automotive.
Firm Automotive is a fleet-orientated business.
Okay.
I don't cater to the general public. About 99% of my business is fleets. That is my prime customer. And then I've narrowed that down again, okay? I look for that fleet that has 25 or more vehicles in the fleet, okay? And I really want to see the same make, the same model in the fleet. That helps me. I just keep getting focused on what kind of fleet I want. The fleets I have right now have 150, 75, 86 count vehicles in their fleet, okay? So I only need 4 big fleets like that to get the same car count that everybody else does with having 40 cars a day or 30 cars a week or whatever. I can do that with just 4 clients.
Wow, that's awesome. I love that little niche.
I don't offer what a lot of companies want, that mix between retail and fleets, and they offer the fleets a discount. I can't afford to do that and give the type of service that I do.
Makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Makes sense. Now, have you always been on the fleet side and focus on that customer segment, or how did you get into this business and how did you pick fleets? You gave us the origin story of where the name came from.
Right.
Now we want to know you a little bit more about the business, because a lot of the people that are listening here are either looking to get into the business for the first time, or maybe they've been in the business and they're looking to open up their first shop. And now, they heard from some people that do a little bit of the mobile mechanic, and this is the first time we brought on somebody that's doing fleet business. So love to know how you got into it and maybe some lessons learned to share with the audience here.
If a guy that's coming into our industry that's going to open up his own shop, the best thing I can tell him, focus. What are you good at? And stay that direction. If you're going to be a general mechanic, that's too much competition for you. Bring in your dream, focus on where you want to go. back in the early 90s, I was at General Mechanic. I worked on anything and everything come in the door. I worked on a damn lawnmower. Okay.
Yep.
And it was
Riding
all about
lawnmowers or just regular push mowers?
it didn't matter back then. I was trying to make a dollar. I was chasing the dollar. You know, when I realized I was chasing the wrong thing, I started focusing on what I wanted to do. So about 97, 98 is when I started changing my focus into the fleet industry. Okay. I started picking up a few electricians, a few plumbers, and then I realized I don't want plumbers as customers. And then I realized I wanted more electricians. And then I realized, hey, fiber communication is the way to go. And then COVID hit. I had 2 clients that are essential business: communications and alcohol sales. They never slowed down. Matter of fact, alcohol sales boomed.
Yeah.
Okay. They just had to have their cars fixed, just had to make it happen, and it had to go because they were really selling a lot of stuff. So that tinged me again to say, hey, let's move away from electricians. Let's start focusing on all these people that do communication, whether it be internet, fiber communication, whatever. Let's stay within people. And I can't do much better in the alcohol sales because I have the largest distributor here in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex as my client. Okay. And I have to share him over in the far side of Dallas with other people, but it's focused me on where I want to be. And if you're coming into our industry and you're good at Chevrolet cars, man, work on Chevrolet cars. If you're good at Ford, work on Fords. If you're good at Ford diesels, focus on your Ford diesels. There's so much business out there. And then on social media, let people know that you're the person to go to for that make and model. At first, it's going to seem like a little road to hoe. But after a while, when things get going, you quit chasing the money. All the money will come to you. The clients will be there. Everything will flow just like the. I've been in business 37 years. I've seen the trends. I watched the trends. But once I got myself focused, things changed.
Yeah. Riches are in the niches. Start small, specialize, grow from there.
Right.
Words of wisdom. I love it, John. Thanks for sharing.
Absolutely.
So what's next on the horizon? So you start off as a generalist. You found your niche.
I'm standing in a room, and I see an exit sign over the door, and it's blinking real bright lights right now. Okay. That's where I'm at. I'm reaching for that doorknob. I'm a foot and a half away from the doorknob. Everything's lined up. Everything's in the proper order. I'm ready to go out the door. I'm ready to start traveling the world and, playing a lot more than I do right now.
Nice.
Very cool. Awesome.
Well, how can we set up the business to where you don't have to completely exit? So it sounds like you're a rock star and a rock in this industry with a lot of wisdom to share. How do we keep you in it, but allow you to work a little bit more maybe on the business than in the business?
One of the things I want to do, my next step after I exit, I still want to stay in our industry. I don't want to get out. I want to start sharing my knowledge. I want to start sharing what I know. I'm developing a class right now called Processing Cars. And earlier we talked about being focused. A lot of people aren't focused on how to process cars. Once you learn how to process cars and move them through your shop with production, everything works so much smoother for you. All the stress level falls off. The money starts rolling in, and you get happy, and you got time off to go do with the things you want to do. But you've got to learn how to process cars. Once you do that, and be a good leader, of course, being a good leader is the biggest part, but if you're in this industry and you're thinking about going out being on your own, you got to be a good leader to do that.
For sure.
Absolutely.
For sure. So, process cars. Give us a sneak peek. What does that mean?
What does processing cars mean?
Yes.
Yeah. And to John Fairbank, how did I do that efficiently? How do I process a car efficiently?
I'm going to put it real quick and easy. Diagnose in the morning. Submit your estimate. Repair in the afternoon.
Okay.
deliver in the evening. And once you get this process going, you're going to diagnose this morning. You're going to submit your estimates by lunchtime, and you're going to repair yesterday's cars, because you're going to be doing your digital vehicle inspections, and you're going to be building your tickets up, and things will flow. And usually by the end of the day is when you got all your parts, you got your OKs, and you're doing your repairs.
It's a great process. So a little bit more of the time blocking of how you organize your day.
Yeah. So you don't stop doing diagnosis until you're done doing diagnosis.
Yep.
You don't go into repair mode until all the cars that you brought in today are looked at, diagnosed, figured out, estimated out, and sent on down the road. When it's sent on down the road, what I'm saying there is maybe the customer decided they don't want to do the repair.
Yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm. That moves it out of your way so you can continue on with your flow.
Okay. I love it.
You mentioned the DVIs, digital video inspection. We know that relatively to the industry, it's somewhat new technology. I know it's been around for years, but getting more and more adopted every day from shops. John, when did you first adopt and start using the DVI process, and how do you see it kind of transform your business or other people's business?
A good friend of mine named Pete from Boston, he invented a program called FlexCheck. And that was in 99, 2000, right in that area. And that's when I started using digital vehicles inspections. Way on back there. Yeah.
Awesome. And then
it was green to me back in. I didn't know a whole lot about it, but Pete sure took me under his wing, taught me how to do it. But Pete didn't teach me how to process cars. Processing cars came from a good friend of mine that's a business coach, and he showed me that. He taught me that, and that was a blessing in my life.
That's awesome. Well, I appreciate you giving back some of that wisdom.
Mm-hmm.
Now, is anything different with those digital vehicle inspections or processing cars, whether you're working on Ford, Chevys, or fleets? Any nuances, any differences, or is it like, hey, this is the process no matter what you're doing?
You can't do the same DVI on a diesel that you would do a gasoline that you would do on an EV, electronic vehicle.
Right.
Okay, because all three of them are going to have different points, different wear points, different things you're going to have to be looking at. You can do a general DVI and look at brakes, look at shocks, look at suspension, okay? Look at tires. You can go in and look at, I like to look at cosmetics last because I want to give the customer something to say, no, I think I want to fix that later. And that's cosmetics, So the first thing I want to look at is safety concerns, what can break, what can cause us wear and tear. If we don't fix this today, it's going to cost us more tomorrow if we let it go. Those kind of things first is what I want to address. Back up. First thing I always address, customer's complaint. Always address customer's complaint. And oh, by the way, this is what else we found. That's your safety concerns, okay? And then move on to things that they can turn down or you can reschedule in. By reschedule them in, this is another process of the cars. 6 weeks from now, you reschedule that in. That keeps your schedule rolling and rolling and rolling. And you're constantly busy. But you have to play the schedule game because if you don't, you'll run into December, January, February slow days.
Yeah, that makes sense. So for that new owner, help them better understand the schedule game, because I've talked to quite a few folks where, hey, maybe they're the mechanic, and maybe they have their wife or somebody else that runs the front of the shop, and they're looking to add on that first new mechanic, to kind of build upon the team. And maybe maybe that next one after that, right? I mean, you've been there, and you probably talked to a lot of people in that place. What's some of the wisdom that you can share?
30 years ago.
Yeah. So I know I'm asking you to go back to memory lane, but you're a passionate guy. Share some of that.
So the best thing you can do, the very best thing you can do, new mechanic, learn how to wear your hats. Learn to play what role you're supposed to play throughout the day, and play that role every hour that you're supposed to play it. If you're supposed to play technician, diagnose technician from 8 o'clock in the morning till 10 o'clock, that's your role for 2 hours. If you're going to estimate cars out from 11 o'clock to 1 o'clock, that's your role. If you're going to play owner from a certain amount of time to a certain amount of time, that's your role. That's when you play owner. Get it organized, just like processing cars, okay? Wear your hat when you're supposed to wear your hat. When you go into estimator mode and you're pricing out all this work and you get the denial, you put it then on your calendar to call them 3 months from now, 2 months from now, whenever you set it up with your phone call, to call them back. And then when you go into your estimating mode, you check who you're supposed to call that day. You follow your steps.
Love it. Now, when you go out to recruit and hire and train these individuals, at what point in time are you sharing all the roles and responsibilities and how you process cars? Is that directly as a part of the interview process to figure out if they're going to be able to, adhere to your standards?
The interview
or is that
process
something
is to find out if it's the person I want to be involved with. Okay. It's my discovery process. Mm-hmm. A good friend of mine named Mike Allen says, hire fast. I'm the opposite. Okay? I want to introduce myself to you. I want you to introduce yourself to me. I want us in a relaxed mode. I want to know what kind of person you are. Mm-hmm. That's what I'm very interested in. I don't want the person that doesn't have a lot of confidence. I want a person that will move forward and go for it. So I can see the qualifications in the interview process by asking, what do you do for fun? What's exciting in your life? What happens? What are great things? And the response that they'll give you, if it's not a positive response or something moving forward, you can be cautious and ask different questions to gain that knowledge that you're looking for.
Yeah.
Then, once you decided that, hey, I'm interested, you come around, I want you to be here for 3 or 4 days. Check us out. So let's see if we like you. Let's see if you like us. Maybe you don't even like to be here in my building at Firm Automotive. Maybe somebody's going to have a problem with you. Maybe you're going to have a problem with somebody. But by them coming here and spending 3 days with us, we can find that out.
Yeah. So hiring for a culture fit first.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not interested in hiring somebody in 3 days from now firing their ass.
Yeah, well, that makes sense. Willie,
how important is retaining the right customers for your business and for that customer experience? Do you see an even kind of balance with having the right employees, retaining the right employees, and then allowing them to continue building that culture that you hired them for, and then that relating to kind of the customer experience and keeping customers happy? Do you see a direct correlation for that in your business, John?
You have to have the right employees if they're going to interact with your customers, because your customers that you have established right now understand your culture, understand what kind of atmosphere you have. If you bring somebody from the outside and bring them in that doesn't have the right atmosphere around them, your customers are going to see that. They're going to be uncomfortable. They're not going to like it. They're going to want to move around that person and deal with somebody else. It's so important to have your culture when it comes in to be in the right place.
Gotcha. Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah. Now, John, I'm really curious, you talked about, focusing on that customer segment and getting after, that right niche for you and your team. How did you get after those customers? Because, you only have I want to say a small number of customers now. A lot of cars come with those customers. Yeah. But I'm sure those customers are not easy to find.
Oh, they're not.
How do you make that happen?
I'm working right now with it's a telecommunications vendor right now. And I've had 3 meetings with this guy at his office, okay? And I have yet to work on a vehicle. So my buddy Cecil Bullard explained to this the best there was, okay? And he said, your business is kind of like going steady with 2 or 3 girls and having 2 or 3 girls in the background, you're constantly sending candy and flowers to, but you're not going nowhere with them. I said, that's exactly right. So the guy that I'm dealing with right now, I've been to his office 3 times. I'm not ready for your vehicles yet, but I want you to get to know me. I want you to get to know what kind of person I am. So I'm constantly dating these new vendors. And then when I'm ready for them, I'm ready for your cars now.
Yeah. I mean, you're building relationships, right? You're building the rapport.
You have to build that relationship. You have to. That's so important. Because the next thing you know, like I had this one company that I had a great relationship with, the staff that I dealt with, the support staff I dealt with. I had a great relationship with them. Then I came in one morning and they were all gone.
Yeah.
And it's like, where'd everybody go? When they were bought out and just cleaned house. So I had nobody at that point to go back there and talk to, other than some of the other technicians that were there. I talked to them and I couldn't get my foot back in the door. The great thing about these big companies is once you're in the door, it's such a huge process to become a vendor for them.
Yeah.
If you're already a vendor, it's less than likely they want to leave you. They will come back around eventually. Once it changes over, the people that go in place will be looking for somebody new, and they'll say, look for who's ever in the file. Let's go check them out.
Yeah. In my past life, we call those enterprise sales.
Exactly.
It's a much different sales cycle to get after those enterprise sales. And is that the hat that you wear on the team? Are you focused on bringing in the enterprise sales, or have you hired somebody else to help grow that business for you?
I have not.
Maintain that business?
No, I have not. Because what I have now is changing your clients into fans.
Yep.
And your fans tell other people about you. Okay? That's been the way that I developed more relationships. I had one of my clients, this is really a cool, so we all know the Waffle House, okay? And he's sitting there eating breakfast one morning. 2 guys behind him are talking about needing some equipment for one of their trucks. And my client turns around and says, I got the guy for you. And it gives the people my phone number, and they call me and they tell me, and that wound up being a large company off of the East Coast that was here in Fort Worth, and they had 30 trucks, all same make and models, and it was a perfect client for me. And that turned out to be a really good relationship.
Awesome.
And it's real sweet conversation like that.
And John, this is a textbook business, right?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
I love what you're building here. So this is great wisdom. So thank you very much for sharing all this.
Yeah,
Appreciate
absolutely.
it.
John, say you weren't in the business of trying to, get through the exit sign, and you were looking, at doing something different with all the technology and the resources that are available to people today to open up a shop. What are some of the biggest things that you would do different today with what you have available than you did so many years ago when you opened up the shop?
Well, when I first opened up, I didn't know P&Ls. I didn't know markups. All I knew was, guys, remember, I was a mechanic when I first opened up.
Right.
I was alignment guy, tire guy, chassis guy. And, if I had to put a pair of ball joints on a Chevrolet truck as an 87 model Chevrolet truck back in, that's $300. And the reason why it was $300 in my head was because the last place I worked, that's what they charged, $300. Why they charge it? I don't have a clue. All I know is it took me about an hour to do the ball joints, and the ball joints cost me about $60, and I was dressed as all my money. I had no clue. So the technology that we have so readily available to us right now is find a business coach. Get involved with somebody that will teach you the numbers so you can survive and you can feed your family and you can feed your business and you can grow your business. If you get a coach, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to get software to run your business on. And you're not going to handwrite your invoices. You handwrite your invoices, you can't. No. If you handwrite your invoices, it's so much more work to know what your numbers are.
Yeah.
But you can get them.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a ton more work versus it take you 2 or 3 hours to get the numbers that I can get with just 2 pushes of a button
Right.
in my software. So
Yeah.
the two things are going to go hand in hand. The technology that we have today, you need the software to run your business, and you need to have a business coach. Somebody that
Yeah.
knows what they're doing, been down the road with experience of over 1,000 other people in the automotive repair industry that can just give you some guidance and help you down the road.
Yeah. And John, I'm
Great
I'm
words of
excited
wisdom.
for you to be that coach. Man, I can just
Yeah.
see the people lining up to want to get that wisdom out of you. But
You know,
tell me about the numbers.
I would share anything with anybody. Pick up the phone, call me, come by the shop. That's going to be your requirement. You're going to have to meet with me.
Okay.
And you can sit here at my desk and look at every number I got. I'm not shy bashful about any of this stuff, okay? But I'm not coach level.
Hmm.
You know, I have Malin Newton's a great friend of mine. Cecil Bullard, great friend of mine. Rick White, great friend of mine. Bill Haas, great friend of mine. You know, Vic Tarsick out of Houston, super friend of mine. I'm not at that level. These guys know so much more than I do. I can help you. I can get you going in the right direction. But these guys know every aspect from every different walk of life because they've dealt with it, and I haven't. They have so much more knowledge than I do. But I'll share what I know with nowhere near what them guys would know.
Hey, well, not every coach has to be the that NFL standard of coaches, right?
Oh, no,
You know,
I agree
you
with
need
you.
those
That's why
different
there's so
levels,
many
and
of
you
them.
grow up. Yeah, right. So don't sell yourself short. I know I know the wisdom that you're throwing at us.
Absolutely.
But circling back to the numbers, so talk to me about some of those key numbers, some of those key metrics. You mentioned P&L. You know, you're back to that shop that you first started. You know, what are the key numbers that you're looking at? You know, you probably look at numbers very differently now than you did when you first started.
Right.
You
Back
know, all
then,
kinds of different types of KPIs coming at you, and now you're tuning your shop instead of setting yourself up for success, right?
yeah. You know, I was laughing because, you know, you said back when you first started. Back when I first started, if I had money in the checkbook, and it wasn't at the end of the month, it was if I had money in the checkbook now, right now,
Yeah.
I was doing all right.
There you go.
You know, if I had money in the checkbook at the end of the week,
Yeah.
Monday there wouldn't be none there. I'd take it all. And then at the end of the month, how the hell am I going to pay my parts bills? I just spent my money.
Yeah.
I laugh because I literally did that. Okay. So I didn't look at indicators. Okay. I didn't watch them. I didn't see them. All I seen was checkbook drivability. You know, I'm going to diagnose my business through my checkbook. And I didn't have QuickBooks back then. I had a checkbook, you know, and I had deposit slips, paper crap. And if there was, you know, I didn't balance my checkbook out to the beginning of the month or after the third. And if I had money in there, I'd have money in there. I was awesome. You know, that was my indicator.
Yeah.
But today, I look hours per O. I want to know what that is. I want to know what each technician comes to work for me, depending on their skill level, has a goal to reach every day. You know, an A tech I want to see 10 hours out of. A B tech I want to see 8 hours out of. If that A tech is constantly focused on nothing but drivability, he should give me 15 hours a day. You know, if he goes into drivability and goes into repair mode, I'm going to say 10 hours a day. You know, and a general service tech should give you 4 hours every day. That's what you're buying. So what I look for is if I'm buying from my technicians 15 hours a day, I better be selling 30 hours a day, or I can't afford my overhead. I can't afford everything else that's going on. And these are round numbers. They're not precise. They're just a general idea. So you can see the big picture of what I'm looking at. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's my hour marks. Okay. So now my tires, I want to see a markup every day when we get through at the end of the day. I'll get a report on the sales. Okay. I want to see my percentages. I don't care what about my whole dollars are. Because if my percentages are off, I'm not making money. The tire sales got to be on the money. Battery sales got to be. The percentages do. If the percentages are off, my matrix are off, or somebody's not selling it the right way. And that's what I look at.
Got it. And then obviously you're not doing all of the selling. You're not doing all the markups. So, tell me about some of those coaching moments, right? Because everybody's going to hire that first person, and then that first person's not going to mark it up correctly. And, there's some individuals that are going to tear their heads off, and there's some individuals that are going to ignore it and hope it works out better the next time,
So you got to have control over your stuff. You got to. And to have control over stuff, you got to have a good software. A software that, as the owner, can go in there and set everything up. And as your sales team comes in and makes the sales, if they adjust something, it needs to ask for your permission. So you acknowledge that you know what's going on. Or maybe your employee needs to say, hey, we need to adjust this for this customer. We need to do this. That has to be locked in where you're controlling it if you have a sales team. If you don't have that capabilities, your sales team can do something that'll affect you and you won't find out about next day. Because when you read your report. Now, if you're in your back office like another friend of mine is, that's all he does is stay in his office, and every estimate that is presented, he goes to it and makes sure his numbers right. He's a control guy, okay? And I love him to death, but that's just, he's analytical and very controlling. And he wants to see every invoice that goes out. And if the numbers are right, he rejects the estimate, sends it back to the service writer. The service writer will fix it and send it out. So you have to have control over that. You have to have checks in place. That's what I want to say.
Yeah, those checks and balances.
Yes.
And you can't get to those checks and balances unless you have those systems and procedures set up.
Exactly. Yep.
And then I love how you've done the roles and the responsibilities to help build upon and create those checks and balances and systems and procedures.
Yeah, and we talked a little bit about technology, and technology is great, and it works really wonders and can help you, be more profitable. But it doesn't do anything for a shop that has bad processes in place. The technology cannot come in and fix the bad human processes that have been implemented, right? I mean, do you agree with that, John?
Guys, processes. We could have one whole Zoom meeting on processes, and then we could open up another Zoom meeting the next day, and we'd change the processes we made the day before. So when you sit down and start doing your standard operating procedures, leave lines in between every one of them, because tomorrow you're going to say, oh my God, I shouldn't have done it like that. Or I forgot that. So make sure that you don't get stuck on trying to perfect your processes and procedures, people in general, and do it the easy way. Leave room for mistakes, leave room for adjustments, and be willing to adjust on the fly. And whatever you do, if you have a team in place, let your team give input. It's your ship, you're driving it, you're the captain. But your team may know something about their particular job that's more knowledgeable than what you are. Listen to them. You don't have to do what they say, but listen.
Yeah, that's important. Yeah, and there's a big difference between listening and hearing them.
Amen. Oh, amen. Yeah.
Yep. So I think that's good leadership, and it seems like you've really kind of developed those leadership techniques and tactics, and implemented those strategies to build the business that you have. So kudos to you, my friend.
If you don't know, if you think you know leadership, you don't know leadership. I can say that right now. I've read books and books and books about leadership, and the very best one that I've ever read is Extreme Ownership. And that opened my eyes up to a lot about the leadership ways that I wish I'd learned a long time ago.
Yes.
Such a great book.
Very good book. I recommend that one as well.
Yep.
So as you're talking about leadership and you're talking about the SOPs, how often are you, hosting the training classes, or how are you passing that knowledge and that wisdom down to your team? Is it ad hoc? Is it scheduled? How do you do it?
2 or 3 times a day.
Okay.
We have our little huddles that are 5 minutes. I personally will walk over to where they're working and spend a minute or two with them and enjoy a conversation and express my appreciation on what they're doing, how they're doing it. I'll ask a question. What was your win? What did you feel like was awesome? And the next question I'll ask, what do you think you could have done better? How could you have done that better? And then I bless them from there. Every day when we pull the doors down and everybody is going out of the building except for the team, we have a debriefing. And those questions are asked again. What was your great accomplishment today? What did you do awesome today? What did you feel that you could have done better?
Mm-hmm.
We go over it again. We debrief. Hopefully they can unplug. Hopefully they can leave here, not take this business home with them at night, and they can go enjoy themselves, their time with their family, whoever they're with. But I don't want them to take Firm Automotive home with them and worry about this place.
Yeah. Nice. And you are
now,
a North Star for so many
training.
Yeah.
Guys, I do more training in a month than a lot of people do in a year. Okay.
Training's important.
I started a new program here in Texas called the Texas Two-Step Training. And earlier this year, we went from Fort Worth, Dallas, to Lubbock, to Waco, to Houston. I had Mike Clary and Rick White with me. And we got 2025 scheduled. We're going to start in Houston. We're going to run up the east side of Texas. And looks like I got Dan Vance coming from Shop Dog Marketing. And Rick White going to do the business management. Mike Clary is going to do diesel. And Oscar Gomez is going to do drivability and electronic stuff. So we got a big show coming up on that. So I'm also signed up with World Pack training, the CTI training, Garage Gurus. They're by my shop all the time. They're having lunch and learn with us. We go to the major events. We just spent Vision was the last big event we were at. The one before that was Apex and SEMA. Oh, I forgot. ASA Colorado has the event they call the Summit. And I came down with the flu the Wednesday before we leaving on Thursday, and my team asked me, no, don't go. So I sent everybody, we closed down, sent everybody up to the Summit. They had a great time, came back on Sunday. Our next event that we're going to be going to is the event in Raleigh, North Carolina, ASTA. That's in September. And then the first week in November, we're back at SEMA and Apex. So everybody goes to all of them. We do all that.
Oh, that's awesome. It's quite the road show.
Yeah.
To get to do that, guys, you have to put 5% of your sales into a savings account that'll pay for your training. And you have to do it every week, and the money will be there for you. If you just got one or two people you're going to do training, put 3% up, and it'll be there for you. It's not much.
Yeah, I mean,
it's a little bit, and it adds up.
Small investment to guarantee the culture
Yeah.
and the people doing the things that you need to do to grow your business.
The two best training events I can tell anybody to go to is Vision and ASTA. I mean, one's in the center of the United States, one's all the way on the East Coast. You know, if you're going to do big class training, those are the two to do right there.
Cool.
Very cool. Oh, I appreciate that, man. You've been a North Star for so many shops, and I think so much of this is all the wisdom that's been shared to you. I feel like you do an amazing job of taking some of those lessons learned, and I bet you grab pieces of it from some and pieces from others, and you know, generate
hey,
what you're saying today.
Those pieces you're talking about, I call them gold nuggets.
Yeah.
I started that a long time ago. I go to a class and I would tell the instructor, I'm not here to learn everything you're teaching me today. I'm looking for one gold nugget that I can leave in your classroom, take back with me, that I can make money with.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
And you collect enough of those gold nuggets, and you got something magnificent, right?
You're successful. Yeah. You know, and lucky you catch that gold nugget within the first 15 minutes of the class, and then you can get on Facebook to screw off the rest of the time.
Oh. John, sometimes those people that are dropping nuggets, though, they drop more.
They're
They do.
Gold nuggets.
Always.
That's what builds Fort Knox. It's the
Well,
knowledge.
you've definitely dropped some golden nuggets today, John. So we really appreciate that.
Good, William. I'm glad that.
Might have to call that the title of the show.
Yep.
Gold nuggets.
Gold nuggets.
I like that.
Actually, to be honest with you, that's my third title that I've already come up with for this show. So usually I struggle when we get done with this. When we get done with the episode, for me to come up with the title. So that's the third one that I come up with. John, it's been a blessing. I don't have any more questions. Mike, do you have anything else you want to cover with John?
No, I mean, I could geek out with John all day. I feel like I want to go have a cocktail or a coffee with him and get to know him a little bit more. So, John, we definitely have to invite you on the show again and join your road show too.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate you guys. Anytime I can help you guys do another interview, please call.